What's going on, people? It is your boy Svenny-D coming at you with something that, for those of you that know me fairly well, probably aren't expecting, and that is some Call of Duty Advanced Warfare gameplay. And yes, that is from yours truly. You know, I figured that I would try and buy into the hype yet again, as I do every year. And being an obsessive gamer, there is just a compulsion inside of me. I'm very compulsive when it comes to video game purchases. I usually buy first and think about the purchase later. And that is the case again with Call of Duty. But I gotta say, usually after, 24 hours after I purchase a Call of Duty game, I'm regretting it. And this one I'm not. It's not something I think I'm definitely not gonna be going heads over heels, playing it for the next 6 months nonstop. There's not even a chance, because for one, Assassin's Creed is coming out later on tonight, which I took the day off of work for. I'm gonna be live streaming it all night, starting at 3 AM Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna be doing the same exact thing for Far Cry 4 and GTA 5 as well. So I look at this game as a filler, something that I can play in between those games when I need a little break from one to the other. But as far as the game itself, I finished the campaign. Absolutely, it's a great campaign. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Kevin Spacey definitely made that one of the more memorable Call of Duty campaigns. And Exo survival mode, pretty sweet. I like it. The one thing I really like is it's challenging. It's not something where, like in a game of zombies, I think zombies is far better, but in zombies it's like every time you started a game you're kind of lollygagging around just waiting for round 20 and 25, so shit really started to get hard. I've went down in the first round or two sometimes in Exo survival. I'll get into that in a separate video, but then you got multiplayer, the king of the crop. I'm enjoying it so far, but it's very inconsistent in terms of lag issues. I know a lot of people are having problems with lag right now, which is not a stranger to the Call of Duty franchise, and that's something that they really got to get fixed, because they've had these issues with lag for so long, and then there's the dedicated server debacle, and why won't you do it? Oh, we do it. No, we're not gonna do it. It's just, it never ends with them and the lag issues that they have. There's obviously an underlying problem here that's not being addressed, and it's something that's happening across the developers. So the one constant you have is Activision, and I'm sure in some way, shape, or form, some of the direction they've given the developers or some of the restraints have, prevented them from fixing these issues. I think going on the 3-year cycle is going to help a lot, because they're going to have more time to focus on each game, but, the impact on it will remain to be seen. I know that Advanced Warfare was a 3-year development game, but I don't know. It's the first one, so the next Call of Duty is when I'm really going to be interested to see what they have in store for us. But I want to talk to you guys about Call of Duty and the next-gen king of the first-person shooter genre. Right now, in my eyes anyways, Call of Duty has two main competitors. You have Battlefield 4 and you have Destiny. Battlefield 4 obviously is kind of flamed out. That's going to be an entirely separate video talking about what happened to the Battlefield franchise and its fall from grace. I know that it's still alive and just as good as it ever was, but there's a lot less players playing that game than there used to be. I think the average 20,000 people a day, if I'm not mistaken, it's a pretty high number compared to most games. But Battlefield 3 was just absolutely incredible, and Battlefield 4 just it was lacking it. I don't know what it is, but it was lacking it. But like I said, that's a whole nother video. I'm getting really sidetracked here. So you have Call of Duty, Destiny, and Battlefield. And even if you want to go further, I'm looking at this more from a PlayStation perspective, but you could incorporate Halo, and you could incorporate Titanfall. I know Titanfall is not a next-gen game, but it's a fairly recent first-person shooter. And You know, one of the things you got to look at with all of these different games is innovation and creativity and the drive to get better. Destiny was obviously a first-time release for the series. I think they knocked the fucking ball out of the park with that game. However, the big issue with that game is the lack of content. And almost, I want to compare Call of Duty to Destiny in general, because I think that with those being the first two actual next-gen games to be released in the first-person shooter genre, I think it'll be a good comparison to make. So, when it comes down to it, Destiny isn't structured like Call of Duty, where you have single-player, multiplayer, and a third-tier survival mode. Destiny, you have what you have. You have the campaign / co-op, so the survival per se and the campaign are kind of joined into one mode on Destiny, and then you have the Crucible, which is multiplayer. I guess stacking up the games one next to the other, when it comes to campaign, Destiny didn't have a defined storyline. You really didn't know what was going on. They left out a lot of relevant information. And the fact that it was just so scattered really took away from how good I think that story could have been. There was a severe lack of content. I know a little ways before it released, they kind of scrapped the old storyline and started with something new. And I don't think they should have done that, because we just got a jumbled mess of a broken storyline. And it's not a broken storyline, but I'm sure Activision's the ones that made the call to say, hey, don't give them the whole story from day one, let's make them pay $15 or, you know, X amount of dollars for a season pass to get the rest of the story. That would be like Call of Duty releasing a game and charging you, incorporating campaign missions into DLC. I don't know how many people would actually buy that, but I'm guessing it's very few. The only reason that's going to work for Destiny is because co-op is the focal point of that game, and that's what makes it thrive. So, campaign-wise, Call of Duty definitely gets the nod, without a doubt. As far as a cooperative mode, I would definitely give the nod to Destiny. Obviously, you have an entire game's worth of content. Even if it's limited right now in its current state, you have an entire game's worth of content and actual storylines and missions that you can go and play with your friends on. Whereas Call of Duty, you're pretty much, you're playing a horde mode type of game, which there's nothing wrong with that at all. I think Exo Survival is a very enjoyable game, and I'm definitely playing that for a little while. And then you have the king of the crop, the actual PvP multiplayer. And unfortunately, I want to say, for my personal liking, Destiny is the better game. But when it comes to multiplayer, I think Call of Duty is much, much more enjoyable than Destiny. The Crucible is good. I really enjoyed it while I was playing it. But, I don't know. It wasn't a long-term game that I could see myself playing. Whereas, even though I'm not a fan of Call of Duty like I was back in the COD 4 and MW2 days, I've still played it every single year. So that's gotta count for something, right? You know, Call of Duty has its fair share of issues that really need to be fixed, and Destiny, I don't think it has a lot of issues when it comes to PvP, but at the same time, it's just kind of, it doesn't have a lot of issues because there's not too much to it. One thing that I like more about Destiny's PvP multiplayer is that the effectiveness of your team is a lot more important than having one good person to just go and say fuck the objectives and just destroy everyone. It doesn't really work on Destiny too much. Maybe your experiences are different than mine, but that's just how it's been for me, and that's something I really enjoy. I love a team-based strategy PvP multiplayer game. I enjoy it. Call of Duty, and this isn't something that you can even blame on the game per se, and some people don't even have an issue with it, but that comes with the culture that has been built with Call of Duty, the fan base and the community. That's how they play that game. Objective-based modes are just kind of thrown to the wayside. I know that there's a lot of people that love the objective-based games and they do play them, but I can tell you from my personal experience, and I have plenty of footage to validate this, The only reason most people play objective games in Call of Duty is so they can camp the fucking objectives and get more kills. That's just, it is what it is. It takes away you having to figure out the high traffic routes of a map and having to, you know, patrol them and be mobile. Why have to, you know, why put yourself in a position where you have to think and use your mind and be mobile and have fast hand-eye coordination when you can go and hop into a domination map when you know people are going to come to this point of the map, you know, this often, you know exactly when they're going to be there, yada yada yada, etc., etc. Overall, I think that it's way too early to crown either game or any of the aforementioned games as the king of the next-gen FPS genre. I want to see what Destiny still has yet to come in the DLCs, and I want to see, you know, the same thing from Call of Duty, and I really want to give Call of Duty more than, you know, a few days. That definitely wouldn't be fair. I had about a month straight in on Destiny before I put the controller down. That was the first month it was released. Haven't played it since then because, like I said, the lack of content. It just, there's no reason for me to be going back. I'd be going back to play for nothing other than Ascendant Shards. And that does not sound like fun to me. Maybe it is to some people, I'm sure it is. But Call of Duty, on the other hand, it's fresh, it's new, it's innovative. I think bringing Sledgehammer to the mix to the franchise a lot of good. Because this game, in my eyes, has a lot of potential. I think this could be probably the best Call of Duty game since Black Ops 1. I know that's going to catch a lot of flack. I liked Black Ops 1, I really enjoyed it, and that was the last game that I was really into when it comes to the Call of Duty franchise. But I know there's a lot of stuff put into this commentary, guys, but if you have any thoughts, opinions, anything on what I said, make sure to leave it in the comments below. Definitely give me a like or a dislike. If you like this video, I can send you either a male or female stripper, and if you dislike this video, I'm just not gonna send you a male or female stripper that I wasn't gonna send you in the first place. Yeah, so anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, it is your boy Svenny-D. 24 hours. No, not even. It's 9:41 p.m. You guys are watching this video sometime on Monday morning. So do the math. Assassin's Creed Unity is right around the corner. Far Cry and GTA 5 are not far behind. Get ready.